Medial Y as a review means Y in the middle. Medial means middle. Okay, Glamatra has a, wait, I hope I said that right, has a question. Oh no, that was the, Devon has a question. Glamatra, how do you pronounce? Okay, so let me put her question to everybody here before we start. So she is, this in the chat, wondering how to spell that word. So the first A is going to say A because of the tap two rule. There's another vowel, one or two doors down. The second A is going to say A because there are two consonants after it. And the third A is going to make the schwa sound because it's at the end. So all of those were in the A month. But that word is Glamatra. Glamatra. I'm glad you brought that. Okay, so medial Y. Let's start with our last week's extra practice. Okay, so number one is, so just backing up to remind you what medial Y is. It's going to act like an I. It's what the Greeks used in the middle of base words instead of an I. It follows all of the rules for I. So when you see Y in the middle of the word, it's going to act as an I would. You would do the tap two rule just like you would do for an I. So in all of these, I think, let me look. In all of these, it looks like there are two consonants after it. So all of these Ys are going to say I in the middle, which is common for the real. So number one is clift. Number two is blip. Number three is clissipy. Four is chip. That is drimpishy. Drimpishy. Number six is brin. Brin. Number seven is trinsty. Trinsty. 8 is plissimply. Plissimply. 9 is trisp. Trisp. And number 10 is flimpricky. Flimpricky. And this week, we're going to go over all of our Y rules that we have learned this month. But first, let's do our phonemic awareness warm-up. Let's see how many sounds are in. Okay, well, let me tell you something first before I ask you how many sounds are in Q. So, okay, I think we do have Y next month. I mean, U next month, because I don't think I've taught you this yet. So U has two long sounds. If I've taught you this, let me know if you're on. So it has two long sounds. It can say its whole name. U, when your mouth starts open like a smile and ends up with your lips pushed out. U is one of the long sounds. It's the name of the letter. The other long sound for U is just that last part. Ooh, ooh, with your lips already pushed out. So in a word like cube, you're going to hear the whole U sound. Even though it's technically a diphthong, two sounds are blended together very quickly. That's why your mouth changes shape. U is technically two sounds. But for this lesson and for next lesson, we're going to count it as one. So U is one sound, the long sound for U. So with that being said, how many sounds are in cube? Cube. Put it in the chat. How many sounds are in cube? Good. Okay, so those who are counting more sounds than there are in there, it might be because you know how to spell it and you're getting the letters mixed up with the sounds, or it might be because you're hearing both of those U sounds in the long U sound. Cube, if we make the long U sound one sound, is three sounds. Was that confusing? K, U, B, 3. K, U, B, 3 sounds in cube. Okay. sounds in cruise? Now in cruise, you can hear that other sound of the long U. It's just that ooh part. Cruise. Your lips are already pushed out. It's not cruise. It doesn't go and make that whole entire long U sound, just that last part. Cruise. So how many sounds in cruise? Put it in the chat. Oh, so somebody thought it was the whole Rubik's Cube that he was counting all of those sounds for. So how many sounds in cruise? Cruise. Letters, only the sounds. Yes, 4 sounds in cruise. Oo, z. So if you were wondering how you can know, teach you before next week, but I'll give you a sneak peek. If you're wondering how to know if the U is going to make the whole U sound or just that last part, ooh, when you're going to sound out an unknown word, it's going to come out naturally based on the shape that your mouth was in when it made the letter before it. So like in cur, the letter before the U is an R and your lips are already pushed out. So your mouth is already in that shape. So it's not going to backtrack and make that whole U sound. It's not going to be cruise. It's going to just come out naturally. Cruise. So you don't have to worry if it's going to make the whole U sound or just that last part, ooh. It's going to come out naturally based on the shape that your mouth was in when it made the letter before it. So 4 sounds in cruise. That S in cruise is making its vibrating sound. Z. Cruise has 4 sounds. How many sounds in tissue? Tissue. I'm smiling because the letters aren't going to help you much in this one because it's spelled so oddly compared to how it sounds. So think only about the sounds. How many sounds do you hear in tissue? Sounds in tissue are t, I, sh, oo. 4 sounds. T, I, sh, oo. And to demonstrate how hard this is, because nobody gets all of these right. I think there was only one time, was it last week or last session or the week before that, when everybody got all of them right, but that hardly ever happens. To demonstrate how hard this is, I had a student, this was a young child last week, and I was asking him to separate the sounds in animal, okay? To him, the sounds in animal were animal. To him, there were 2 sounds in that word. That is how difficult it is for a dyslexic to break off the sounds with tiny little phonemes within a word or a syllable. To them, a chunk of sounds is 1 sound. So this is going to be hard, okay? Because if you are dyslexic, we're retraining your brain how to separate those tiny little phonemes within a syllable. So we had to help him go from animal to o. 5 sounds within that 1 chunk that he heard. So this is not easy stuff, but I think you guys are doing very well at it. It's supposed to be hard, not supposed to be perfect. Practice makes progress, not practice makes perfect. Perfection is not required. Okay. So here we go to our Y combination lesson. Y, if it's at the very beginning, as a review, is the only time it says yeah. Y at the beginning is the only time Y is a consonant. Every other time Y falls in a word, it's a vowel. When Y comes at the end of a multisyllable word, and you can tell it's multisyllables if there are two vowels not touching. So here's a Y over here, here's a Y over here, multisyllable word. When Y comes at the end of a multisyllable word, it is usually going to sound like a long E. Comes at the end of a one-syllable word, no other vowels, then it's going to sound like a long I. Let's go to this first one first. So Y at the beginning says y, y. Your mouth is wide like a smile, hardly opens at all, versus ya, ya. Don't let your jaw drop. Keep it a nice smile and make the sound very minimal. Y, y. So this sound, I'm going to mark the vowels. Actually, let me stretch this more. All right, so here I have a vowel, here I have a vowel, and I already know Y at the end of a multisyllable word usually makes the long E sound. I'm going to tap 2 for this I. 1, 2. Both consonants, which means that makes its short sound. I. So when I pencil read this word, we have Y, I, M, P, R, E. Yimpri. Yimpri. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, try yours over here. Go ahead and mark your vowels. I appreciate you having, several of you having your videos on. If you don't have your videos on, don't worry, it's okay, I get it. I probably wouldn't have mine on either. But I do appreciate those who do, so that I can see like when you're done with the word, how your mouths are moving, and kind of gauge how the class is following along with me. So, and if I pencil read this word, it's y, I, t, E. Be careful of this TR sound, that it doesn't change to a ch, which is the sloppy way to say it. Watch out for that ch, ch, ch sound, okay? So when we pencil read this word, it's yitry, 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 yitry. All right, so number 2, I'm going to circle my vowel. I know it's a vowel because it's not the first letter. Y at the end of a one-syllable word, always. This one is not a usually or a most of the time. When Y is at the end of a short word, only one syllable, only one vowel, it's going to make the long I sound, I. So this word is b, o, I, bly, bly. Try yours. Here you have a digraph blend. Digraph. Here's your blend. This word, your digraph is SH. It only makes one sound. A digraph blend is when you put a consonant after your digraph, so it's gonna blend from one consonant sound to another consonant. That's sure. And then Y at the end of a one-syllable word says I. So this word is shry. It's not easy to get that R sound in there. Shry. Kind of push out the R and it will help. Shry. Okay, let's try number 3. Doing all right. Okay, so here's a medial Y. Y in the middle of words means it's a Greek word. Follows those same rules as Y. And here's an AY. AY is a digraph and it makes the long A sound. And this, my friends, is always how you spell the A sound at the end of a word when you are spelling. When you're spelling, you can't put the A sound, put the letter A at the end. Like if you wanted to spell the word play, you can't spell it like that. Because A's at the end say Nebraska, China, America, Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, Rebecca. A's at the end say So when you're spelling a word that ends with the A sound, don't just spell it with an A. You have to put an AY. That is the digraph that spells the A sound at the end of a word. So this word is, well, I forgot to mark my vowels, didn't I? So this acts like an I, so I'm going to tap the next two letters, 1, 2. No, there's not another vowel, so no, it's not going to say its name. It's going to say I, as a short I would. And then we know that's going to say A. So now I'll pencil read. I, T, A. There's another TR. Be careful not to make it sure. When we connect the dots, it's pim tray, pim tray, pim tray, pim tray. Okay, look at yours. Look at how good this is going to feel after you read a word like this. You guys, I hope you feel so proud of yourselves with your reading these difficult words. So here's a Y in the middle. Go ahead and, just to remind you, in case you weren't here before, EY at the end of a word usually makes the long E sound, as in turkey. So now go ahead and mark it and try to say it on your own. To say the sound of this SH, make sure your lips are pushed out. Okay. So when you pencil read this word, it's R, I, E, rimshi, rimshi, rimshi. Would you put in the chat how you're doing, please? One word to describe how you're doing in the chat. It was tough. You're right. Who said that? Back up. Amy, you're right. 3 was tough. Ooh, got an excellent. I got all goods except for a couple okays and 1 excellent. That is awesome. And yeah, a couple that was tough for sure. Okay. Moving right along. Let me move up my page. So the OY, let me just we're kind of going over this review kind of fast. So let me take my time here a little bit. Y can be part of 3 different vowel teams. AY, EY, OY. AY makes the long A sound. EY makes the long E sound. And OY makes the OI sound, as in oil. So this is how these almost always come at the end of the word, like play, key, and toy. If Y is part of a vowel team, it has its own little sound, A, E, and OI. Okay, so here is OI. Yeah, thanks, Mary. So this one, EY, it will say another sound sometimes, but not often enough for me to include it in this lesson. Yeah, most of these, or most of the times, this EY, it can say it can say a different sound, as in hey, hey. But there's so many little nuances and so many exceptions that I don't want to confuse you with the ones that are more rare. Okay, so here we are with our OY sound. OY says oi, oi, as in oink, oink. Talk about a diphthong. Diphthong, remember, is two vowels that kind of blend together and completely change from the beginning to the end of it. Watch the shape of my mouth when I say the sound of oi, oi. That's a diphthong, when it completely changes shape from one sound to the other, but it's still considered one sound, oi. All right, so I'm just going to put an OI here at the top. So when I pencil read it, it's p, oi, proy, proy, proy. Try yours. When pencil read it, it's b, o, oi, bloy. It's like boy, but with an L in there. So we have a question here back on proy. I'm doing something strange with proy. I think it's my R sound. So I put an R right here on purpose, and I put an L right here on purpose to make these words more difficult. I'm sorry, but I want them to be difficult so that your tongue can learn where it needs to go in what spot. And so that your tongue, you can have complete control over every sound within the word. So yeah, proy is going to be hard to articulate, but think of the name Roy. Roy, say that, and then put a p before it. Make sure that P is only air. Make sure it's not pa Roy. The sound for P is not pa, it's only air. Pa, pa, pa. So that is proy, proy. That's a hard one. Same with this one. This one is bloy. It's that L that's going to be the tricky part. Bloy, bloy. I'm really glad that you brought that up because I want to hear what your thoughts are as you're moving through these so I can help you. And I'm sure you're not the only one with that question or that's having a hard time. So if you ever have a question, put it in the chat. Okay, so look at these doozies. Which one of these would you like me to try for you before I send you off on your own, or to do with you? I mean, put it in the chat if you would like me to do one of these with you. No nines? We have a couple fives and an 8. Two 8s and 2 5s. Interesting. Maybe I think it's because you can see that your number 9 is not as hard as it looks. Just because it's long doesn't mean it's difficult. This one is actually not that hard, but we'll do it anyway. But we have a couple 5s and a couple 8s. So let's do those. All right, let me grab my pen back. Okay, so here's a vowel. It's going to say I. I already know because the next 2 letters are consonants. This AY is going to make the long A sound. This word is p-er, I. It's a digraph blend right there. A. Prish tray. Prish tray. Oh, okay. That one was just mean. That was just mean. With all those R's in those crazy hard places, you got to get those R's though, you guys. Divide it if you have to between 2 words, prish and tray. Make sure you get that R in the right spot. It's going to be hard. Prish tray. Prish tray. Great. Yes, Blair, I do want to answer that question. I'm sure you're not the only one who has it. So the short sound of Y is I, because it acts like an I would. I. So this word, this I is going to say I because it has two consonants after it. And here we have an EY at the end of a word, which usually says E. So here I'm going to answer your question, Blair, on how to slow yourself down. I am going to pencil read first. So we have I, T, E. Now, here is where I think your question lies. And this is common for most people. You pencil read it like I just did. So you tell your brain that you know the sounds. So naturally, you're just going to want to go and read it. But that, if we read it with an uncontrolled, I call it, we have to have controlled blending so that none of those sounds get omitted or transposed. So the way I do that is I go one at a time. I go th, thim, thimt, thimter, thimtree, thimtree, thimtree. I'm not sure if that answered your question, but if not, I want you to stay after and ask me again if you have a minute. And then let's do number 9 just for fun, because I love words and this one looks super fun. So this one's going to say I. This one's going to say I. This is going to say oi, as in boy. So we have y, I, p, o, I, t, oi. Y, yim, yimp, yimple, yimple. Do this with me. Yimplim, yimplimt, yimplimter, yimplimtroy, yimplimtroy. Hopefully that wasn't as hard as it looked. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and I would love for you to unmute if you have any questions or put them in the chat if you'd like to stay after and just chat a little bit about what might have been difficult for you.